What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and today we're here to talk about the brand new set of Limit Break expansions coming to the game. I obviously hadn't really made a video about this yet, and this has been about a week old at this point, so definitely wanted to go ahead and talk about all of these units, see what kind of updates that they're actually going to be receiving, and whether or not these characters are worthwhile investments to Limit Break expand. Now, obviously, with Limit Break expansion, it does cost a lot less to Limit Break expand some of these rare recruits comparatively to Sugofest exclusive characters, so keep that in mind. So if they have pretty crazy abilities and you just have the applicable materials to get them, it might be worthwhile. So let's go ahead and jump into the video. So the first character to be receiving a brand new Limit Break expansion is going to be this Zoro character. Now, this Zoro is a very good rare recruit with a very powerful special, reducing special bind and attack down by 5, an ore block, and a 2x ore boost for 1 turn. Just a generically good rare recruit that you can put on a lot of different teams. And the great thing about it is you can see immediately he does receive fear resistance, up to 5 hits of fear resistance. I think without doubt this is a phenomenal choice for a Limit Break expansion. He also receives an additional -1 cooldown, which puts him down to what? Yeah, an 11 turn cooldown. That is absolutely absurd. This is easily one of the most worthwhile Limit Break expansions the game has released thus far, and definitely, actually, you know what? I'm actually going to be doing it right now because this is so good. I just need to pull more dupes of him now to feed those to feed that Limit Break expansion additional, Limit Break ability. Definitely worthwhile investment, I feel. Fear resistance and special bind, if you see that combination together, very, very good investment. The next rare recruit to be receiving an expansion is this Flower Sword Vista from the Whitebeard vs Shanks Sugofest batch. This guy's actually not too bad. He does have a pretty okay special with doing fixed damage, a little bit of utility, gives you either a color affinity or an ore boost depending on what you have active. He does have double special activation already, naturally, which is great, but it looks like he actually gets barrier penetration. If your health is above 50%, he bypasses enemies' barriers. That's pretty useful, to be honest. He doesn't receive any cooldown reduction though, which is a little bit of a downside. He's already naturally at a 10 turn cooldown, so that probably didn't matter at the first place. I think him getting barrier penetration is a pretty decent addition to the unit. I don't think it's the most broken thing ever. It's not going to make or break this character. Personally, it's probably not one I'm going to max out, but if you get the dupes of him later on, definitely worth putting into him, getting that ability maxed out. Make sure to max out that double special first, because that's the most important component of this character, but after that, getting that barrier penetration is going to be nice for a couple of key pieces of content. Now, the next one is a bit of a weird one, being Kanjuro. Now, this batch with Kanjuro and Orochi rare recruit came out with the King and Queen batch, and one of the really bad things about them is their special cooldown. Now, I personally haven't even maxed their special cooldown because it just didn't really matter. Even at max level, you're only going to get, what, a 24 turn cooldown on their special, which for stage 2 is just ridiculous. Even stage 1, going down to 12 turns is definitely more acceptable, but you're just rarely ever going to see that stage 2 special. They actually get slot bind resistance by 5, which is pretty cool. But let's see what else. They actually get cooldown -1. Look, I get because of the stage 1 special, you can't give them an absurd amount of cooldown. This is definitely not a worthwhile investment. Actually, what does his special actually do? Adjacent slots to bomb, reduces the chain multiplier growth rate reduction by 4, gives you a chain boost, and then, okay, look, he's not worth it. This character is just bad, and the Limit Break expansion did not do him any favors either. Moving on, we have Kuzan from the Ace vs Akainu batch, so relatively older rare recruit at this point. So Kuzan is a pretty good special, honestly. He does fixed damage to a single enemy. He also removes some of those really pesky defensive effects, and also can provide an attack boost for 2 turns for Shooter and Free Spirit. He has a phenomenal support effect as well, which sees a lot of play. He gets the slot bind resistance from his expansion, going up to 5 turns resistance there, but he actually does not receive any cooldown, but getting access to the slot bind duration is okay. I don't think this is going to be one worthwhile investment. Maybe if you do get that ability maxed out, then at that point, yeah, you can go ahead and spend the materials, but I mean, you're not really getting anything aside from additional statistics when you expand him immediately immediately off the bat. So personally, I think this is one you'd probably want to avoid until you get his abilities maxed. Next we move on to Raizo, which again is another very old rare recruit, and this character still sees play today just due to his support effect. So Raizo, with his special, already at a 9-turn cooldown by the way, reduces paralysis and special bind by 3, and then you can swap your slots 3 times. Not too bad, but of course that support effect is absolutely broken. But with his expansion, he does receive own special charge time by 6 at the start of the quest. I actually kind of dig that. That's not too bad at all, because it means he's going to go down to a like a 3-turn cooldown as soon as you start the fight, and then with your sockets as well, that'll go down to a 1-turn cooldown left, and then if you use like the liberal hind or you use the host ship, he's going to be maxed as soon as you start the quest, which is pretty impressive honestly. Though with a special ability like this, I don't know how often you would need this type of special very early on in an adventure, but you never know, maybe with Grand Voyage coming, this type of special on a really low cooldown may be incredibly useful. Currently though, probably not one you'd want to invest in because he doesn't actually receive any additional cooldown via this limit break, but still not a bad investment though. Do keep it in the back of your mind just in case if you do need special bind and paralysis earlier on in a quest. This may be one you may want to look at. So next on the list is another old rare recruit being Kyros, receiving a limit break expansion. So this character, not the best special. It does bind despair removal by 2 and it gives you an attack boost for 3 turns for slashes. What does he actually get? He gets double special activation. Okay, that's pretty good. Being able to remove up to 4 turns of bind and despair, and because he is a slasher that removes bind and despair, you can have Whitey Bay as a support on this unit to remove up to 6 turns of bind and despair just with 1 unit. That's actually not too bad at all because you get the 6 turns of utility and you get the attack boost for slashes. Not too shabby, to be honest. I mean, you could use this in tandem with like Roger and Newgate to buff that attack boost to a 3 times, right? For 3 turns. Dude, this is low key. This low key might be actually pretty good. Remember, it is only removing bind and despair, so you do have to keep that in mind. And Kyros doesn't have that many good key supports in the first place. But like with that combination that I said, like this with the support and then Roger Newgate, like that combination is actually kind of good, to be honest. He actually does receive some cooldown. He goes down by 2, so he maxes out at an 11-turn cooldown. Again, this is one you may want to keep in the back of your mind, just in case if you do need heavy bind and despair removal, like this, Whitey Bay, Roger Newgate. Yeah, this is a pretty good combo of units you could use to clear content with. So the next rare recruit, again, another very old rare recruit, is Dagama. Very weird that he's actually going to be receiving one finally. So this unit here, with his special, reduces paralysis and despair by 5 turns, and then also will do a 10% health cut. Remember, this is another slasher unit that does remove bind or despair, so you can put Whitey Bay on here as well, in case you need to remove like 2 turns of bind for whatever reason. So there you go with that. But in terms of his other abilities that he gets from the expansion, he does receive -4 cooldown, going down to an 8-turn cooldown. He does receive crit from his expansion limit break, which is kind of bad. I would have preferred something a little bit more ideal. Crit is not the best. I mean, this is not like one of those units that you're going to be expecting to do a lot of damage. I think more of a utility-based potential ability would have been a bit more useful. I think something like, what does he actually have for his crewmate effects? He actually reduces his own special bind by 2 turns. That's pretty interesting. Like something like fear resistance or hunger, I think would have been way more useful for a character like this. But despite that, I mean, sometimes this character may be useful. Sometimes you just need a very low cooldown unit to not only be a health cut special, which you can put other characters as supports on him for additional damage boosts, but sometimes you need an 8-turn cooldown to remove 5 turns of paralysis and 5 turns of despair. This is another one you may want to keep in the back of your mind just in case. Next on the list is Stussy. Now, Stussy is not a very good rare recruit. She was released with Carrot's Sugo Fest badge, if I remember correctly, and the way that you're supposed to use her is that you're trying to use her special multiple times in the same turn to get access to that 2.25 times attack boost. Would make sense. She does get double special launch though. That's yeah, that definitely helps out. That is very good, meaning that you are able to use her special twice in the same turn in order to get access to a 2.25 times attack boost to Fighter, Slasher, Striker, Shooter, and Cerebral. Yeah, honestly, not too bad. It is kind of crazy they decided to put that on this unit, because this is the type of unit I wouldn't expect them to do that, because this character has that crewmate effect where every time, you know, you use a special, you get the -1 cooldown. She naturally has a 6-turn cooldown, and use like cooldown specials on top of that, you get additional cooldown. So this unit was built in such a way where you can just like launch a bunch of specials, so you can get her special to launch twice in the same turn. But then they're just like, nah, stuff it. Let's just give her a double special launch, so you don't even have to worry about cooldown shenanigans. I think that's really cool. Is this a character that you're going to use in a lot of content? Probably not, but then again, you may need to look at it in the lenses of, in the perspective of maybe Grand Voyage. This could be a Grand Voyage style unit where, you know, sometimes you just need that one unit that gives you a bunch of attack in one turn, or you maybe need a really low attack boost for multiple turns. This could provide that. So I do like this unit. I think it's pretty cool. So you may want to keep that in the back of your mind too. Next on the list, we have 2 limited rare recruits to go through. The next one though is Tashigi. Now this is a very good character, being able to provide very good utility, getting rid of 5 turns of attack down, and also gets rid of increased damage taken, but that doesn't really matter. But also providing pretty decent orb change, and then a 3-turn 2.75 times chain lock on release was broken. Still right now is very good because of her support effect that can also reduce attack down attaching to Zoro or Smoker. Very, very good. In terms of her expansion though, she doesn't actually get any cooldown, which I think is a little bit of a downer, but she does get Enrage, which also removes increased damage taken. Definitely not the effect that I would have preferred, but at least she does still have this one naturally, the -10 cooldown to herself, so she is going to be ready as soon as you start the quest, so that really doesn't make that big of a deal. But I think that Enrage is a bit of an odd choice considering her special already removes increased damage taken. I think that's probably the reason why they put it on there. Very odd decision, but I mean, the fact that she doesn't get cooldown, her potential ability that she gets is not that good either. I don't think this is a character worth limit break expanding. The final character that we can talk about here is going to be Usoland, who is another limited rare recruit character. I actually forgot what this character does. So he does a 15% health cut to all enemies, and then also removes 7 turns of threshold end of turn damage and enemy enrage. And if the enemy is immune to delay or all status effects, then he will give you a 0.75 chain boost for 3 turns, and also make shooter characters strength dex quick slots matching for 3 turns. This is not a very good special. This is not a special that you're going to be using a lot. However, once again, 7-turn of threshold removal may be kind of underrated. You know, that's actually not too shabby. So what does he actually get? So he does get some cooldown. He only gets -1 though, so that's not super amazing. So it's additional 3 and 4. So he goes down to a 9-turn cooldown, and then, you know, he does get critical hit. Definitely not the potential ability I would have chosen for this character for his 3rd ability. Bit of an odd choice there. So I do not think that this is a character worth investing into. Tashigi's definitely a better limited rare recruit, and just naturally even before the expansion came out anyway, and these expansions did not really help out these limited rare recruits at all. However, if these characters somewhat gain like really good Pyrumble abilities, that'd be good, but these characters don't have Pyrumble abilities in the first place, so that sucks. So honestly, I can't really advise investing into these characters. They don't really seem that good. There's only really been a couple of rare recruits in this video that have really blown me away. So with all that being said, we've finally gone through the brand new batch of Limit Break expansion characters. Let me know down below in the comment section which of these characters in the brand new Limit Break expansion batch have you decided to go ahead and invest in. Let me know down below in the comment section. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video today, and if you guys did enjoy it, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all of the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.